It's 1 in the morning, and I'm elbow deep in the engine of my '98 Ford when Lila's phone lights up on my workbench. The notification sound echoes through my garage like a church bell at a funeral. I wouldn't have looked. Privacy and all that marital respect. Except the screen stays lit for 30 seconds, and I can see the sender's name clear as day. Mike. Mike from her office. Mike with the BMW and the designer suits. Mike who always shakes my hand too firmly at company parties, like he's proving something. Can't wait to feel you again tomorrow. Room 237, same as always. Min. I stare at those words until they burn into my retinas. 23 years of marriage, and this is how I find out. Not through some dramatic confrontation or tearful confession, but through a text message at 1 in the morning while I'm fixing the truck that's older than our daughter. My name is Jack Morrison, and I run Morrison's Auto Restoration here in Edgewater Crossing. It's not much, a converted warehouse on the wrong side of town where I bring classic cars back to life. Honest work with honest dirt under my fingernails. Lila used to love that about me, back when she was working at the local newspaper and we were both scraping by. Now she's a senior account executive at Sterling & Associates, the biggest PR firm in the state, and apparently I'm not quite shiny enough anymore. I set down my wrench and really look at that phone. The smart thing would be to pretend I never saw it, go to bed, kiss my wife good morning, and keep living in blissful ignorance. But I've never been accused of being smart. I scroll up. The conversation goes back months. Months of I love you, and when can we be together, and details that make my stomach turn. There's even a photo. Lila in lingerie I've never seen, smiling at the camera like she's auditioning for something. The garage door leading into the house creaks open. Lila appears in her silk pajamas, the expensive ones I bought her for Christmas. Jack! It's late. Come to bed. I look at her, really look at her. The woman I married when we were both 24 and stupid with love. The woman who held my hand when we lost our first pregnancy. The woman who celebrated with cheap champagne when I finally saved enough to buy this place. Your phone was buzzing, I say, holding it out to her. She takes it without meeting my eyes, and I watch her face change as she sees the screen. Panic, then calculation, then something that looks almost like relief. Jack, I can explain. Room 237, I say, same as always. How long has always been going on, Lila? She sits down on my workbench, suddenly looking older than her 39 years. 6 months, maybe 7, I laugh, and it comes out harsh. You're not even sure. That's beautiful. It just happened. We were working late on the Henderson account, and stop. I hold up my hand. Don't give me the story. I don't want the narrative. Just tell me. Are you planning to leave me for him? The question hangs in the air between us like smoke. She fidgets with her phone, and I can see her crafting her response, probably the same way she crafts campaigns for her clients. I don't know, she finally says. I'm confused. Well, let me help clear things up for you. I walk to the mini fridge in the corner and pull out a beer. Take all the time you need to figure it out. But while you're deciding, you can do it from somewhere else. Jack, be reasonable. Reasonable. I pop the beer open and take a long drink. Reasonable would be pretending I never saw that text. Reasonable would be couples therapy, and working through this like adults. But you know what? I'm feeling pretty unreasonable right now. She stands up, and I can see her shifting into damage control mode. It's the same look she gets when a client's scandal hits the news. Where am I supposed to go? I hear room 237 is available. The slap comes fast, but I see it coming and step back. Her hand hits empty air, and she nearly loses her balance. Don't, I say quietly. We're not doing that. Dub. She stares at me like she's seeing me for the first time. Maybe she is. For 23 years I've been steady, predictable Jack. The guy who fixes things and doesn't make waves. The guy who says yes, dear, and whatever you think is best. That guy just left the building. I'll pack a bag, she says. You do that. She heads for the door, then turns back. What about Jess, our daughter, 19 years old and home from college for spring break? She's been daddy's little girl since she could walk, but lately, she's been taking after her mother, all about appearances and what people think. What about her? What are we going to tell her? I finish my beer and set the empty bottle on the workbench. We're going to tell her the truth, that her mother has been sleeping with her boss, and now she needs to decide what she wants to do about it. You can't. I can't what? Tell our daughter that her mother is having an affair? Why not? She's an adult. She can handle adult problems. Lila's face goes white. If you humiliate me in front of our daughter, you humiliated yourself, sweetheart. I'm just not going to help you cover it up anymore. She leaves without another word, and I hear her stomping up the stairs to our bedroom. 20 minutes later, she's dragging a suitcase down the hallway. The front door slams hard enough to rattle the windows. I sit in my garage until the sun comes up, drinking beer and thinking about the last 7 months. All the late nights at the office, all the weekend conferences, all the times she came home smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. The signs were there. I just chose not to see them. But now I do see them, and I'm going to make sure everyone else does too. Jess comes downstairs around 10, still in her pajamas, looking for her mother. She's got Lila's dark hair and my stubborn chin, and right now she's wearing the expression she's had since she was 5 years old and couldn't find her favorite toy. Where's Mom? I'm making coffee, trying to figure out how to explain this without sounding like the bitter husband in a bad movie. She's staying somewhere else for a while. What do you mean, somewhere else? I pour 2 cups and hand her one. Sit down, Jess. She doesn't sit. She crosses her arms and gives me the look that means she's already decided this is my fault, whatever it is. Your mother is having an affair with someone from work. I found out last night. She's staying with him while she figures out what she wants to do. The coffee cup slips from her hands and shatters on the kitchen floor. Brown liquid spreads across the tiles like a stain. That's not true. I wish it wasn't. You're lying. Mom wouldn't. She loves you. She loves us. I grab some paper towels and start cleaning up the mess. I'm sure she does, in her way, but she also loves Mike from her office, and apparently she's been showing him that love for the better part of a year. Mike? Jess's voice gets small. Mike Patterson? I look up at her. You know him? He came to my graduation party last year. He was really friendly. The way she says it makes my stomach clench. Friendly how? He kept complimenting me, telling Mom how lucky she was to have such a beautiful daughter. He asked for my Instagram. I stand up slowly, the coffee-soaked paper towels dripping in my hands. Did he message you? She nods, looking miserable. A few times, just stupid stuff, asking about college, telling me I should visit Mom's office sometime. I throw the paper towels in the trash harder than necessary. Mike Patterson, 40-something executive with a wife and 2 kids of his own, hitting on my 19-year-old daughter while sleeping with my wife. This just keeps getting better. Dad, what are you going to do? It's a good question. The old Jack would probably file for divorce, split everything 50-50, and try to maintain some dignity through the whole mess. But the old Jack was married to a faithful wife. The new Jack is married to a woman who brings her lover to family parties. I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly who your mother really is. Dad, no. Think about her job, her reputation. What about my reputation? What about our family's reputation? She didn't think about that when she was sending naked pictures to her boss. Jess's face crumples. She sent him pictures? I immediately regret saying it. Whatever else Lila is, she's still Jess's mother. But the words are out now, and I can't take them back. I'm sorry. You didn't need to know that. Yes, I did. Jess wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. I needed to know all of it. I'm not a little kid anymore. She's right. She's not a little kid. She's a sophomore at State University, studying business, probably because her mother convinced her it was practical. She's smart and tough, and deserves better than parents who lie to her. What do you want me to do, Jess? Pretend this never happened? She thinks about it for a long moment. I want you to do whatever you need to do, but I want to help. That surprises me. Help how? Mom's always talking about managing public perception, controlling the narrative. She's good at making herself look like the victim, but I know things about her that she doesn't think I know. Like what? Like the fact that this isn't the first time. The kitchen goes quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. What do you mean? Remember when I was in high school, and she was working at the newspaper? She had that editor, Mr. Carver. She thought I didn't notice, but she was always staying late to work with him, always talking about how brilliant he was. I remember Carver, divorced, pretentious, always wore those stupid bow ties. He left town suddenly, took a job at some paper in California. How do you know? Because I saw them together, at that little motel on Route 9. I was with friends, and we drove past, and I saw Mom's car in the parking lot. I saw her coming out of one of the rooms with him. Why didn't you tell me? She shrugs. I was 16. I thought maybe you already knew and were okay with it. I thought maybe that's just what married people did. I sit down at the kitchen table and put my head in my hands. 2 affairs that I know of. Probably more that I don't. I'm sorry, Jess. I'm sorry you had to see that. I'm sorry you had to keep that secret. I'm not. She sits down across from me. I'm tired of keeping her secrets. I'm tired of pretending she's perfect. My phone buzzes. Text message from Leela. We need to talk. Meet me at Rosie's Diner at noon. I show Jess the message. Are you going to go? Yeah, but first I'm going to make a few phone calls. Rosie's Diner sits on the edge of downtown Edgewater Crossing like a relic from a better time. Red vinyl booths, black and white checkered floors, and coffee that could strip paint. It's where the blue-collar crowd goes for breakfast and the white-collar crowd goes when they want to feel authentic. Lila is already there when I arrive, sitting in a corner booth with her back to the wall. She's dressed for business, navy suit, pearl earrings, the armor she wears when she needs to feel in control. I slide into the seat across from her and signal the waitress for coffee. You look tired, I say. I didn't sleep much. Guilty conscience will do that. She flinches, but recovers quickly. Jack, we need to discuss how we're going to handle this. Handle what? Your affair, or the fact that everyone in town is going to know about it by dinner time? What do you mean? I pull out my phone and show her the screen. I've been busy this morning. Called Ray at the boxing gym, Mrs. Patterson next door, Tom from the hardware store. You remember Tom, right? His wife works at the bank with Mike's wife. Her face goes pale. You didn't. I did. Told them all the same thing, that my wife of 23 years has been sleeping with her boss for 7 months, and now she's moved in with him while she decides if she wants to stay married. You had no right. I had every right. You made this public the moment you brought him to our daughter's graduation party. You made it public every time you lied to me about working late. You made it public when you sent him pictures of yourself in our bedroom. The waitress brings my coffee. I take a sip and watch Lila try to figure out her next move. What do you want? She asks finally. I want you to understand something. For 23 years, I've been the guy who goes along to get along. The guy who doesn't make waves. The guy who lets you handle the social stuff because you're better at it. But that guy, he's gone. Jack, be reasonable. Think about what this will do to our family, to Jess. Jess already knows. She's known for years, apparently. About Carver, too. Lila's coffee cup rattles against the saucer. She told you about that? She saw you at the motel on Route 9, when she was 16. She's been keeping your secrets for 3 years. It was different. It was just what? Practice? She closes her eyes and takes a deep breath. When she opens them again, she's back in control mode. Fine. You want to play hardball? Let's play hardball. I make 3 times what you make. I own half of everything, including your precious garage. You want a divorce? I'll take half your business and enough alimony to make sure you never forget what you lost. I lean back in the booth and smile. It's not a nice smile. See, that's where you made your first mistake. You think this is about money? Everything is about money, Jack. You just never understood that. Maybe, but you never understood something else. This town runs on gossip, and I've got the best story anyone's heard in years. Successful businesswoman throws away her family for her boss, leaves her husband for a man who hits on teenage girls, abandons her daughter for a guy with a wife and kids of his own. Mike is getting divorced. No, he's not. I called his wife this morning, had a very interesting conversation with Patricia Patterson. Turns out she had no idea her husband was planning to leave her. She was quite grateful for the information. Leela stares at me like I've grown a second head. You called his wife? I called his wife. I also called his boss. Did you know Sterling and Associates has a very strict policy about relationships between supervisors and subordinates? Something about liability and workplace harassment. You're trying to get me fired. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just making sure everyone has all the facts. What they do with those facts is up to them. She leans forward, and for the first time since this started, I see real fear in her eyes. Jack, please. I made a mistake. I know that. But we can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can what? Pretend the last 7 months didn't happen? Pretend you didn't lie to me every single day? Pretend you didn't bring your lover to our daughter's graduation? I never meant for it to go this far. But it did go this far. And now you have to live with the consequences. I stand up and drop a $5 bill on the table. Enjoy your lunch, Lila. I've got work to do. What kind of work? I lean down so only she can hear me. The kind that makes sure everyone in this town knows exactly who you really are. Ray's boxing gym occupies the bottom floor of an old brick building downtown. It smells like sweat and leather and honest effort. Everything my marriage used to be. I've been coming here for 15 years, ever since I realized I needed somewhere to hit things that wouldn't hit back. Ray himself is 60-something, built like a fire hydrant, with hands that look like they've been carved from oak. He's seen 3 divorces, 2 bankruptcies, and more fights than most people see in movies. Nothing surprises him anymore. "So she's really gone?" he asks, wrapping my hands for a session with the heavy bag. "She's really gone. Moved in with her boss yesterday. And you're handling it by declaring war on the whole town?" "I'm handling it by making sure the truth comes out." Ray finishes with the wraps and steps back. "Truth's a dangerous thing, Jack. You sure you want to go down this road?" I throw a combination at the bag: jab, cross, hook. The impact travels up my arms and settles somewhere in my chest. She made the choice for me when she decided to humiliate our family. And what about Jess? Jess is on my side. She's tired of covering for her mother. Ray nods slowly. That girl's got more sense than both her parents put together. I work the bag for 20 minutes, thinking about my next moves. By the time I'm done, I've got a plan. The first stop is Patterson's Real Estate, where Mike's wife works as an agent. Patricia Patterson is a small, neat woman who looks like she's never had a hair out of place in her life. When I walk into her office, she looks up with the professional smile that probably sells a lot of houses. "Mr. Morrison? What can I do for you? I wanted to follow up on our conversation this morning. Make sure you understood what I was telling you." The smile fades. "I understood perfectly. My husband is having an affair with your wife. And you're okay with that?" She laughs, but there's no humor in it. "I'm not okay with anything about my marriage, Mr. Morrison. But I'm also not surprised. This has happened before?" Mike has a pattern. Young women, usually. Clients, coworkers, neighbors. I've been looking the other way for 10 years because it was easier than dealing with the truth. She opens her desk drawer and pulls out a manila folder. "But your wife isn't some 25-year-old secretary. She's a successful businesswoman who should know better. And frankly, I'm tired of pretending I don't know what my husband does with his free time." "What's in the folder?" "Evidence. Photos, receipts, credit card statements. Everything I need for a divorce that will leave him with nothing but the clothes on his back." She slides the folder across the desk. "I was planning to file next week, but if you want to make this public first, be my guest. Just make sure everyone knows that I'm not the wronged wife sitting at home crying into her coffee. I'm the woman who's about to own everything he thought was his." I look through the folder. There are photos of Mike with at least 3 different women over the past 2 years. Hotel receipts, restaurant bills, even a receipt for jewelry I'm betting Leela is wearing right now. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because your wife isn't special, Mr. Morrison. She's just the latest in a long line of women who thought they could steal my husband without consequences. And I want her to know that before this is over, she's going to lose everything she thought she was gaining." I hand the folder back. "What do you need from me?" "Nothing. Just don't get in my way." The next stop is Sterling and Associates. The building is all glass and steel, designed to intimidate clients and impress investors. I don't have an appointment, but I don't need one. I'm not here to see Leela. The receptionist is a young woman who probably makes more than I do. She looks at me like I'm something that wandered in from the garage, which isn't far from the truth. "I'm here to see Mr. Sterling," I say. "Do you have an appointment? Tell him it's about Leela Morrison and Mike Patterson. He'll want to see me." 5 minutes later, I'm sitting in an office that costs more than my house. Robert Sterling is exactly what you'd expect. Silver hair, expensive suit, handshake that could crack walnuts. He's built his reputation on managing crises for other people. Now he's got one of his own. "Mr. Morrison, I understand you have some concerns about 2 of our employees. I have information about 2 of your employees. What you do with it is up to you." I lay out the timeline. 7 months of affair. Company resources used for personal business. A supervisor taking advantage of his position. I don't exaggerate or embellish. I don't need to. "This is a serious accusation," Sterling says when I'm finished. "It's not an accusation. It's a fact. I have evidence if you need it." "What kind of evidence?" I pull out my phone and show him screenshots of the text messages. There are more where these came from. Hundreds of them. All sent during business hours. Many from company devices. And Sterling studies the messages, his face getting darker with each one. "What do you want from me, Mr. Morrison?" "I want you to do what you would do if any other supervisor was using his position to coerce a subordinate into a relationship. Mrs. Morrison wasn't coerced. How do you know? How do you know she didn't feel pressured to sleep with her boss to keep her job? How do you know this wasn't workplace harassment? Sterling sets down the phone. You're asking me to destroy 2 careers. I'm asking you to enforce your own policies. What happens to their careers is up to them. I stand to leave, then turn back. Oh, and Mr. Sterling? You might want to check your company's insurance policy. I'm betting there's a clause about executive misconduct that could be very expensive if this becomes public. The door closes behind me with a soft click, and I can hear Sterling reaching for his phone before I'm even out of the hallway. 3 days later, the whole thing explodes. It starts with Mike getting fired. Not suspended, not reprimanded, fired. Sterling and Associates doesn't mess around when it comes to liability, and a supervisor sleeping with a subordinate is a lawsuit waiting to happen. Leela gets suspended pending investigation, which in corporate speak means they're figuring out how to get rid of her without admitting they knew what was going on. Patricia Patterson files for divorce and immediately freezes all of Mike's accounts. Turns out she's been planning this for months, and my little revelation just gave her the excuse she needed. But the real fireworks start when Jess posts on social media. She doesn't go into details, just a simple statement that her mother has been having an affair and that she's supporting her father through this difficult time. She asks for privacy and understanding, and she thanks everyone who's reached out with support. Within an hour, it has 50 comments. Within 2 hours, it's been shared 100 times. By evening, it's the talk of Edgewater Crossing. I'm working late in the garage when Lila shows up. She looks like she hasn't slept in days, and her usual perfect appearance has cracked around the edges. You've destroyed everything, she says. I don't look up from the engine I'm rebuilding. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped helping you hide what you destroyed. I've lost my job, Jack. My career is over. You lost your job because you were sleeping with your boss. Your career is over because you made choices that had consequences. And what about Mike? He's lost everything too. I finally look at her. Mike is a 43-year-old man who's been cheating on his wife for a decade. He hit on our 19-year-old daughter. You want me to feel sorry for him? He never touched Jess. He didn't touch her because she's smarter than you are. She saw what he was and stayed away. Leela sits down on my workbench, suddenly looking older than her years. What do you want from me, Jack? What will it take to end this? I want you to understand something. For 23 years, you've been in control of our narrative. You decided how we looked to the world, what people thought of us, how our story was told. But you gave up that control the moment you decided to cheat. So this is about control? This is about truth. This is about consequences. This is about making sure that when people tell the story of our marriage, they get the facts right. She wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. I never meant for it to happen, but it did happen. And now everyone knows it happened. The whole town is talking about us. Good. Let them talk. Let them know that Jack Morrison's wife thought she was too good for him. Let them know that she threw away her family for a man who was using her. Let them know that when it all fell apart, she tried to blame everyone but herself. That's not fair. Fair? I laugh, and it comes out bitter. Was it fair when you lied to me for 7 months? Was it fair when you brought your lover to our daughter's graduation? Was it fair when you made me look like a fool in front of everyone we know? She doesn't have an answer for that. I've filed for divorce, I continue. I'm asking for the house, full custody of Jess when she's home from college, and half of everything else. You can keep your car and whatever's left of your reputation. I'll fight you. With what? You don't have a job. You don't have a lawyer you can afford. And you don't have the moral high ground. I have rights. You have the right to hire an attorney and explain to a judge why you deserve half of everything after you cheated on your husband with your boss. Good luck with that. She stands up, and I can see her trying to find some angle, some way to regain control of the situation. What about Jess? She needs her mother. Jess is 19 years old. She can decide for herself what kind of relationship she wants with you. But she's already made it clear where she stands. She's just angry. She'll come around. Maybe, but that's between you and her. I'm done being the middleman in your relationship with our daughter. Leela heads for the door, then stops. You know, I actually thought you'd fight for me. I thought you'd try to win me back. Why would I fight for someone who doesn't want to be here? Because you love me. I consider that for a moment. I loved the woman I married. I loved the woman who used to laugh at my stupid jokes and fall asleep in my arms. I loved the woman who cried when we lost our first baby and celebrated when Jess was born. But that woman's been gone for a long time, hasn't she? She doesn't answer, but she doesn't need to. We both know the truth. The woman standing in my garage right now is someone I don't recognize. Someone who lies and cheats and expects everyone else to clean up her messes. And you're right, I don't love that woman. I don't even like her very much. The door slams behind her, and I'm alone with the smell of motor oil and the sound of my own breathing. 2 weeks later, Mike shows up at my garage. He looks like hell, unshaven, wearing clothes that haven't seen an iron, driving a 10-year-old Honda that's probably all he has left after Patricia got through with him. He stands in my doorway, like he's not sure whether he should come in or run. "We need to talk," he says. I don't look up from the carburetor I'm cleaning. "No, we don't. This has gone far enough, Jack. We're both losing everything. You lost everything. I'm just getting started." He steps into the garage, and I can smell the desperation on him. "Look, I know you're angry." "Angry?" I set down my tools and finally look at him. "Mike, I'm not angry. Angry is what I was when I found out my wife was cheating. What I am now is focused. Focused on what? On making sure everyone in this town knows exactly who you are." He runs his hands through his hair, and I notice his wedding ring is gone. Patricia took everything. The house, the cars, the kids. I'm living in a motel room. That's what happens when you cheat on your wife for 10 years, and Lila won't even talk to me. She blames me for everything that's happened. Smart woman. Finally figured out you were using her. I wasn't using her. I loved her. I laugh, and it echoes off the garage walls. You loved her. Is that why you were hitting on our daughter? Is that why you never left your wife until she left you? I never touched Jess, because she was smart enough to stay away from you. But you tried, didn't you? A 19-year-old girl, and you couldn't help yourself. His face flushes red. It wasn't like that. What was it like, Mike? Explain it to me. She's a beautiful girl. I was just being friendly. Friendly, right. I pick up a wrench, testing its weight in my hand. You know what I think? I think you're the kind of man who takes whatever he wants and doesn't care who gets hurt. I think you saw my wife as a conquest, and my daughter as your next target. You're wrong. Am I? Then why are you here? Why aren't you fighting for Lila, if you love her so much? He doesn't have an answer for that. You're here because you want me to call off the dogs. You want me to stop telling people the truth about what you did. You want me to help you rebuild your reputation so you can start over somewhere else. I just want this to end. It is ending. Your marriage is over. Your career is over. Your reputation is over. The only question is whether you leave town quietly, or whether I have to keep making your life miserable until you get the message. Are you threatening me? I'm explaining your options. Option 1, you disappear. Leave Edgewater Crossing. Leave the state. Leave my family alone forever. Option 2, you stick around and find out what else I'm capable of. He stares at me for a long moment, probably trying to figure out if I'm serious. I am. What about Lila? What about her? If I leave, she'll be alone. She's already alone. She just hasn't figured it out yet. She needs someone. She needs to figure out how to live with the choices she made. That's not your problem anymore, and it's sure as hell not mine. He turns to go, then stops. You know, I always thought you were just some loser mechanic who got lucky marrying above his station. And now I think maybe she was the one who got lucky, and she threw it away for nothing. After he leaves, I sit in my garage and think about what he said. Maybe Lila did get lucky when she married me. Maybe I was a better husband than I gave myself credit for. Maybe she threw away something good for something that was never going to last. But it doesn't matter now. What matters is that everyone knows the truth, and the truth has consequences. 3 days later, I hear through the grapevine that Mike has left town, packed up his motel room, and disappeared without telling anyone where he was going. Lila calls me that night, crying. He's gone, Jack. He just left. I know. He didn't even say goodbye. He just left. That's what men like Mike do, Lila. They take what they want and move on when things get complicated. I gave up everything for him. No, you gave up everything for an illusion. You gave up everything for the idea of him. What am I supposed to do now? It's a good question. She's lost her job, her lover, her reputation, and her family. She's 40 years old and starting over with nothing but the clothes in her suitcase. You're supposed to figure out how to live with the choices you made. I can't do this alone. You're not alone. You have friends, you have skills, you have options. You just don't have the life you thought you wanted. Jack, please, can we try again? Can we go to counseling, work this out? I think about it for exactly 3 seconds. No, why not? Because I don't trust you. Because I don't respect you. And because I don't want to spend the rest of my life wondering when you're going to do this again. I would never. You said that 23 years ago when we got married. Turns out it wasn't true. The line goes quiet for a long moment. I'm sorry, she finally says. For all of it, I'm sorry. I know you are, but sorry doesn't fix anything. What happens now? Now you figure out how to build a new life, and I do the same. Will you ever forgive me? Maybe, someday, but I'll never forget, and I'll never trust you again. After I hang up, I sit in my kitchen and look around at the house we built together. 23 years of memories in every room, photos on the walls, furniture we picked out together, a life that seemed solid until it wasn't. Tomorrow I'll start taking down the pictures. I'll pack up her things and put them in storage. I'll turn our bedroom back into my bedroom, and our house back into my house. But tonight, I'm just going to sit here and remember what it felt like to be married to someone I trusted. 6 months later, the divorce is final. Lila moved to the state capital, where she found a job with a smaller PR firm. She makes less money and works longer hours, but she's rebuilding her reputation one client at a time. We don't talk unless it's about Jess, and even then, we keep it brief and professional. Jess is back at college, studying business and doing well. She calls me twice a week and visits her mother once a month. She's forgiven Lila, mostly, but she hasn't forgotten. She's more careful now about who she trusts and why. Mike never came back to Edgewater Crossing. I heard he moved to Florida and got a job selling insurance. Patricia kept the house and the kids and seems happier than she's been in years. As for me, I'm still fixing cars and living in the same house and getting my coffee at the same diner. But something's different now. People look at me with respect instead of pity. They know I'm the guy who didn't just roll over and take it. I'm the guy who fought back. And maybe that's worth something. Maybe that's worth everything. The garage door is open, and I can hear the sounds of Edgewater Crossing going about its business. Cars driving by, kids playing in the street, neighbors talking over fences. It's a good sound, the sound of life going on. My life is going on too. Different than before, but still going. And for the first time in months, that feels like enough. Wampstead, October 22nd, 2025, 11 hours, 59 minutes and 24 seconds.